I probably got fired like 3 times, 4 times maybe. Yeah, in my entire professional career.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, so to me, okay lor, you fire me is your loss. That's my mindset, right? And I try to use that mindset. It sounds a bit Haolian, but I try to lean into that mindset and make myself have more value.
Hi, welcome to the Clean Your Toilet podcast. When you think about clean your toilet, I think what it reminds me of is a space that we clean often, right? Because the shit gets really bad after a while,
Yes.
right? So if I think about, the aim of this podcast is a lot around, digging into our own lives, right? We spend a lot of time cleaning our physical spaces, but not exactly our psychological spaces and beyond, right? So we want to spend that time going deeper. And, so my name is Pei Ying. I'm actually an entrepreneur, right? I've gone through a corporate career and became a CFO. And I left my corporate role 3 years back to, step fully into entrepreneurship, into business, right? And that also relates to our topic for today. But before I go further into that, Will, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Will. I am the founder of That Marketing Guy.
So you are that marketing guy.
Yes.
Okay.
Used to be lah. Now everyone that works with me is That Marketing Guy.
Okay. How long have you been in business?
12 years. 11 plus 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hear that once you pass the 5 years mark, you are doing pretty well.
We're still alive lah.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, because most entrepreneurs, they don't last beyond 5 years and then they go back to employment, right? So being able to get past 5 years is quite a feat.
Yes, we grit our teeth and move on, it's important.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for today's topic, actually, we want to talk about this thing around go big or go home. Like, what is it like to navigate the terrain of entrepreneurship, right? So just to give some context, I think, we both have walked away from a cushy corporate role, right? And also became entrepreneurs running our own businesses. So the question is, what does it really mean to go big when the stakes are high, right? Moving from corporate, and also when the path is unclear and failure is a very high possibility. So today what we want to do is to explore the raw and often unexplored invisible layers behind ambition, behind reinvention and the pursuit of purpose. It's not easy to get on this path. Not many people survive it, right?
Yep.
So we want to unpack the risks, the mindset shifts, and also the inner work required to leave the beaten path and walk on, what's different, to redefine success and also like building something that really matters.
Okay.
Right. So that's the direction that we're going to. I think the listeners will have a lot to get out from today because most people talk about successes, but they don't talk so much about what it really takes to get there.
Yes.
And how much suffering happens behind the scenes.
Yes.
Right. And if you look at social media these days, they only talk about what's good. But then, I think what we want to give the listeners today is some nuggets of wisdom they can take away with them, especially if there are thoughts around finding your own purpose, starting your own thing, or even transiting from your current role to something different that brings more fulfillment and purpose to yourself. Right. So let's dive into that.
Sure.
Right. So I think let's start off with our origin of how we even step into our own career journeys. Right. So I'll just give a bit of my context and then I'll ask you about yours. Right. So for myself, back in university, I already had the thinking. I studied business. I majored in finance and ops management. I also studied economics. So there's quite a bit of studying I was doing.
Right.
But back then, the outcome I wanted was clear. I wanted to become a CFO.
Okay.
And most people will go like, how do you know that you want to become a CFO at such a young age? And I'm like, I think perhaps it's because of how I see my family growing up and also the challenges there was, and that made me wanted to aim high. So it's always a let's go big or go home kind of mindset.
Right.
But of course, what was clear to me back then is who I was being back then will not be a person who can become a CFO.
Okay.
And I had to search for ways to become one. Right. So I wanted to check in with you then. What was your journey? Going through university, was it clear for you what you wanted out of life? What was your ambition?
This one another grandmother story, very long. Okay. When I was younger, I wanted to be a pilot. That was like really, really young, right? Because you get to travel the world, you get to fly a cool plane. And then after that, oh, I wore specs, that means cannot become pilot, right? Apparently not true now. So I started dabbling with different stuff. Started dabbling with arts, music, started dabbling with computers. So I dabbled a lot. And in school, it was just 通过, you just smoothly go through everything. But on the side, I played around with different things, right? And I wanted to be a computer engineer at one point of time. And I wanted to be a footballer, right? So I was training with the school team, was playing matches until I tore my ACL. So that one's out of the way. Then I thought, okay, let's pursue music, because I write a bit of songs and stuff like that. So I thought, okay, let's try. And after that, went to Singapore Idol.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Second season. So I went to second season. Didn't even go past the first round. So I thought, okay, maybe
Good try.
I'm not that great after all, right? So I thought, okay, then what do I do, right? And that was after poly. In poly, I studied engineering. Like many of my peers in the 80s, we all studied engineering. And I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I was thinking, okay, let's get a job, earn money, and see what comes after. After that, I got a job before I took my degree. So with my diploma, I got a job as a sales engineer. And I was like, what's that? I don't know. Just earn money. It's a job. Right?
Okay. So basically you didn't have like much clarity, because the stuff that you wanted to do, be it being a footballer, musician, or pilot, they were all busted by some reason.
It got all shelved somehow.
Right. And then like when you came to it, you're like, then what do I do next?
Yeah.
Right. And then you just found something and you went into it.
I just fell into it.
You fell into it?
I fell into it.
Like, how did you fall into it?
It was an opportunity. It's like, okay, this company has interviewed you and they want to offer you a job. And I was jobless for like 3 months. And then I was like, okay lah, let's just take, and see how. Right. It's always a see how.
Okay.
Right. And I went into it learning about sales, more B2B sales than anything. And I uncovered what is marketing, what is advertising, and I dabbled more with that. And it kind of had this callback into my poly days where I was promoting. I was the A&P person for our engineering club.
What's A&P?
Advertisings and promotions.
You're already into that. Early on.
Because I like to draw, right? I like to draw, I like to dabble in music. So it kind of all fits to a certain extent. So you got Will to like, Will, let's just create some rah-rah, let's just create some hype and get people to come to an engineering course. Right. Like, okay, let's just do it. So we did that. Then I took a pay cut in my sales engineering job, and then I went into advertising because I thought, okay, I was already doing that. Let's try this a little bit more. And I have been in advertising ever since. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So for myself, it was I chose to want to become a CFO. So for me, simply, it was just around like, okay, how do I get there? I need to work on myself relationally. I know I had the smarts to get there, but then how do I get there from a relational standpoint? Because I think we all know today, if you've been in the workplace long enough, that what it takes to move up or do well is a lot around visibility, exposure.
Yes.
Right. But then back then, I was not feeling like that connected to myself or to others. And I'm like, how am I going to make that happen? Right. So there was this seeking or searching of like, how am I going to get there?
Yep.
And it's interesting, like, in your case, the universe helps you to figure out these are not what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
By putting roadblocks in place.
Yes.
For me, because I was seeking for that, for some reason, the opportunity came up for me to actually embark on something that allowed me to work on and build on my relational skills. Right. And one of the things that I picked up was coaching. Okay. Right. And that became something that I used to accelerate my career and became a CFO within 10 years. Right. And I was kind of the youngest CFO back then.
Okay.
Right. So, for you, as you moved into your marketing career, right, how was it like navigating the workplace, and what made you decide to, at some point, decide to run your own thing?
Okay, very, very good question. I'm not I'm not very savvy at being very good at a workplace. I call a spade a spade. Right? I am very forthcoming, I'm very direct, I'm very blunt. And that doesn't bode well with the older generation of management. I don't know if it bodes well with the younger generation of management, but the older one definitely no. So I'm always in troubles with the management. Always. Right? Oh, Will is insubordinate. Yeah, Will doesn't take instructions well, but he delivers. Right? So it's kind of, that's my brand already. Yeah, I'm always the bad kid. Yeah, in any organization. Right. So I'm always going against the grain. I'm always trying to think of ways to do things more efficiently. Yeah, that's my approach to anything in life, actually. Yeah. So I tried to hone on that. I think I probably got fired like 3 times, 4 times maybe. Yeah, in my entire professional career.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. So to me, okay lor, you fire me, is your loss. That's my mindset, right? And I try to use that mindset. It sounds a bit haolian, but I try to lean into that mindset and make myself have more value, right? So I'll be the best at A, B, and C, for example. Best in marketing, best in branding, best in comms. So much so that I can bring more value to the next employer.
Right. So I'm curious, right? Yeah. I mean, when you speak about what's happening, obviously people are not very happy with you. Yeah. You even got fired. But then you have this degree of confidence and self-assurance about yourself. How do you get that? Because it's not something that a lot of people have.
Sometimes I ask myself the same question. Like, how do I become so self-fueled when it comes to that confidence, right? I believe it is from my parents. They're not very confident people, don't get me wrong. They're still like, you must 安分守己, right? You do your own thing and be your own person. Don't get into squibbles, don't cause problems. But it is because of the love and the care that they gave me. So I was brought up by multiple parental roles. So I have my parents, right? And then I have my grandmother, my mother's mother, who is always playing that maternal role as well. I have my mother's brother who stays in the same house, who plays a paternal role as well. So my extended uncles and aunts also had a hand in shaping how I was. So I was very confident because I was loved. Understand? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think I get that feel from that. Yeah. It's nothing extrinsic. It's nothing from the outside. No one is holding up a sign that says Will is the best. No. Right?
Yeah. So it comes from inside. I think that's the key thing, right?
Yes.
Because most people look for that affirmation or that confidence when somebody tells them something.
Yep.
Right. But then it is what comes from within that makes it so strong and unshakable that it allows you to follow the path that you wanted. Right. So from that standpoint, given that, okay, you're fired and then you still say that, I'm going to be the best and etc. How then, at which point did you then decide to start your own thing? Yeah.
I think it come to a point where I realized I cannot work for people who cannot work. Period. And
that's brutal.
I'm like that.
Okay.
I apologize for nothing. But I think if you are a C-suite, for example, CFO, CEO, whatever, right? And you are given a job to run a company, right? You answer to a board of directors and all that kind of stuff. To you, it's still a job. After you've been let go, that's it. I have read about, I've seen videos, not firsthand, of CEOs who are one with the company, right? They live and breathe the company. And those are the type of CEOs I would die for, right? If they are my clients, brilliant, I'll work for them, right? If not with, at least 4. But there are many CEOs or C-suites that are I'm just there to helm the ship. That's it, and to me it's very sad because every business is a hive of life. You have I don't know 100 people, 1,000 people working for you, and if you have no clear direction, if you have no vision, if you have no gumption to propel that company forward, I think it's kind of sad, right? So I thought to myself, okay, I want to have my own business. I want to be able to fuel my vision forward. And that's where I started my own thing. I don't want to work for people already. I've had enough. I rather work for an outcome that I have control over.
Right.
Yeah.
So what level were you at already at the workplace before you decided that,
Oh, very small only. I was like maybe a manager.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't like senior director or anything like that. However, that being said, it was because of, I'll just call it mismanagement, right? It was because of pure mismanagement or misplanning that even at my level, I would already have to sit at directors' meetings. I already have to sit at, I have to present to shareholders what my marketing plans were, and I have to function at a capacity that's way
beyond your title,
beyond my pay grade, right? Beyond my title. So the good thing about that is it forced me to grow, right? So that's good, right? It forced me to grow, it forced me to evolve, it forced me to change my paradigm of thinking. So it's a good thing. Yeah, that happened.
But it makes me feel very curious, right? Like what made them put you at the table at a much senior level, even though they had a certain perspective of you?
Wow, this one you have to ask them to come here. Then you ask them the question, right? I think for me,
in your awareness,
I'm able to kind of like foresee a longer path, right? So if I have to do a marketing plan, it is not like, okay, let's buy some ads here, let's run some PR stuff here and there. It's more about, okay, when I do all these things, how do I want to shape the company's objectives, right? Like how far do I fall short of the company's objectives? What budgets do I have to play up on? How many markets do I need to work on, right? So I don't just execute anymore, right? I sit with the directors and ask them, what are your KPIs? What are your targets? I try to involve them in. So I guess they could see that despite my rank, I was having conversations at other levels. Yeah, and I think this is purely because of me wanting to be better. Right? I don't want to just execute something. I want to know how I can create an impact in the organization.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Right, because it comes from a place of like, I'm not doing the work just because of my paycheck, but there's more that I want to do.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of the younger people at the workplace these days can resonate with, because that's also what they're looking for. Right, when they get put into a position where they're doing something for the sake of it and it's not of their own will and creation or impact, right? That is where the disengagement happens.
Yep.
Right. But then I think having said that, it's also about having the gumption to take that initiative to go after what you want.
Yeah.
Right. Because like for myself at the workplace, what helped me to move up, it's also a little bit like what you're saying, right? I look at what are the gaps in the workplace and how do I connect them? You always have people on the ground who think a certain way because of the picture that they see. And then you have the senior management who see something different at the strategic level that they want to drive. But somehow both parties always don't talk to each other.
Yes.
So all initiatives don't exactly work out because there's some miscommunication in between, right? So because of my training as a coach, I just naturally became a bridge for that. And interestingly, that gave me a lot of opportunities moving forward. Right, like for instance, if we are going to China, we have this big factory, but guess what? The director couldn't speak a word of Mandarin, and I happened to be able to do that, and then the rest was history, right? Yeah. I get put in a position where I get to take over or like manage the Chinese finance team directly, and then that's how I get exposure. Or like a simple thing around going to the US, meeting the global C-suite for the first time, and then realizing that, actually my boss don't really speak English that well.
Okay.
And so I was asking him, did you hear what was said to you just now? You didn't answer. Then after I was like, you could have told me, I can help you.
Yeah.
Right. Then that's where I started to network with the more senior people and kind of became a spokesperson at the global level, that then, when it's time to get promoted, they already know me.
Right.
So without a doubt, I skipped a few levels above my peer who was at the same level as me when I first came in.
Mm-mm.
Right. So that is the exciting thing around, like, when there's an impact you want to make, you push it through. And I think that sounds like what you did as well.
Yes.
Right.
It's more about, first, a lot of people would ask, then, do you know what you want to begin with, right?
Yep.
I guess it's always stems from this natural curiosity first, right? It's like, how do I make things better?
Yep.
It always starts from there.
Yes.
Right. And then after that, you go and poke and prod and peel and see what works. Yeah.
Correct.
So that's my thing lah. I've broken a lot of like electrical equipment in my day just to see how it works, right?
Yeah. I mean, same as me. I think I can resonate with you because, like, even moving up the ranks, I often think about, like, even simple things like employee benefits.
Right.
I'll go like, why is it that the flexi benefit for somebody in the age range of 30 to 40 versus 40 to 50 versus 50 to 60 is different? Why do older people get more than the younger people? Are they saying that, those in their 30s are not going to get cancer?
Not true.
Versus those who are 50s or 60s? Why can't we be equal?
Yep.
That's one. Or like, why is it that the government gives a lot more benefits? Why can't the private companies take it on as well?
Yep.
So like, I'm not in HR, I'm in finance, but I will go and drive things like that just to feel like, there's that semblance of caring for people.
Right.
Right. So the impact doesn't just go towards building revenue or being profitable, but it's also how do we manage the relationships within that makes people feel connected at the workplace, and then the impact escalates. Right.
I think you brought up a point, right? Like the comment band, right? I think comment band is important for everyone to be a part of. It's not just a HR thing. It's a finance thing. It's a marketing thing, because you need to be able to attract talents.
Yes.
Right. Marketing does work with HR to attract talents. And I always feel iffy, right? Let's just call it iffy. I always feel iffy on the fence whether titles should have designations or not.
Oh, what's the difference?
Right? I can be a manager, for example, right? Or I can be a marketing manager. I think it's a different thing, right? If I call myself a marketing manager, then I would kind of lock that person's mindset or my mindset into I only do marketing. And I don't cut through the silos of the entire organization. And I think that's quite detrimental to a certain degree. That being said, the flip side of the argument is you need people to kind of like look into that specialty, that specificness, right? So it really depends on how you want to formulate your team, I guess.
I feel like it's a lot around a matter of the mindset that you take. Because for many people, I think when they take on a position or designation or title, they just take it as is and go, anything outside of that is not my department.
Yeah.
So then they lose the ownership around the impact that they have on the company, right? But the funny thing is when it comes to moving up the ranks, that's exactly what the senior management is looking for. Right? When you don't care about what's going on outside of your department, then people don't promote you simply because they need you to care enough for the impact of the business and not just your department. So what you have spoken is a very clear distinction of what really is the formula to doing well in corporate. Right, which most people don't realize. They think that, it's just about doing well and then moving upwards in a very narrow way, just like how you spoke about the positioning.
Yes. But that being said, my personal experience is you need to be savvy enough to know that there's a time and place to do things.
Yes, correct.
Right? It can't be like how I used to be in the past, where it's like, wow, hot-blooded, just chong, just go straight on. There needs to be a skill involved in managing people's feelings, emotions, what have you, right?
Yeah, true.
So I think that's why I believe I am better suited to function as an external extension of any organization. Because I get to cut through the clutter, right? Like inside, I need to navigate through all these uncertain waters, right? It's like not my skill set.
Right.
I'd rather just talk to the person that his or her opinion matters the most.
Okay.
Yeah, it's easier for me already.
I see.
Yeah.
That's nice. So then, given that you are very clear about where you wanted to go, you subsequently say, okay, I'm had enough of, reporting to these people whom you don't think, are performing up to par.
Yeah.
And so you started your business, right? And what was it like transiting from employment to self-employment?
I adopted the mindset where instead of working for one company, I'm just now working for multiple companies.
Okay.
Right? And then, of course, today we call it gig economy, right? It's just freelancing, right? But I'm just working for various companies. But the offer or the value that I bring to their table is now you get a marketing person, manager, or whatever title you want at a fraction of the price. Today we call it fractional, right?
Yes, fractional.
Right. Fractional. But back in the day, it's fractional marketing team.
Right.
So I started with that, and I started just having this focus on getting my craft right and having my craft impact the business in the most tangible manner. Yeah, so that was my focus entirely. So every business, I don't need to worry about how my co-workers feel. I don't need to worry about peripherals, all the ancillary stuff, right? I just have to look at, you need to sell. I think my first client was ice cream parlor.
Okay.
She needed to sell ice cream. Let's sell ice cream. But I don't care how I do it. Legally, of course. Then I just sell ice cream. I went around the neighborhood talking to various zi char shops, doing collaborations with them. We do very direct marketing. I go and print out these little flyers. I call them invitation cards because if you call them flyers, they will fly away. So
Okay,
I print
like
out
that.
little invitation cards and offer invitations to everyone who lived in a 300-meter radius from the store, right? So we did.
So that's how you start. Oh,
That's how I
that was
started.
for the ice cream.
That was for the
parlour.
ice cream,
Okay.
right? So that was how I started as a one-man show, working 4 feet from where I slept.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it, right? I went around the neighborhood, knocking on doors and asking, you need marketing or not? Right? It's as straightforward as that because I don't have any budgets to run ads or go for awards, whatever, right? Because one-man show, nothing. Then yeah, when I started, my bank account was almost dry also.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I think that's a concern of a lot of people who are trying to transit towards starting their own business, right?
Yep.
Because obviously everybody wants freedom and flexibility. Nobody wants to get caught in a certain structure where they feel trapped in.
Yeah.
Right. So then, but the thing is, the price to pay for entrepreneurship is a lot of uncertainty and dwindling finances, especially at the beginning.
Yes.
So how did you feel about it and how did you navigate that?
I mean, fortunately, I didn't have a lot of commitments, right? So I was still living with my parents, so no rent. Well, that's fortunate. Food and all that, I just asked, can buy food for me, and I just try to tide it through. But I
Who
know
was buying food for you?
either my parents or anyone like neighbors that I know, Tompang, buy food for me, that kind of stuff. And I think at that point of time, I didn't really take loans. I think that one is, don't dig a hole and jump into it. I think live by your means. Always be able to project. But I trusted myself a lot in my ability to get more clients.
Right.
Right. So even if it's a $500 deal, I help you design your name card and your flyer for $500. Yeah, I do for you. Small little deals like that, I could do it myself. I could design, I could write, right? So I spend most of my waking hours trying to network.
Right.
Yeah, so I did all of that, and I just trusted myself that I have good family support in that sense.
Right. So for a lot of things, you had to figure out yourself.
Yeah, it's always try and error, and it's always fail fast and move on. Yeah.
How long did it take before you came to a place where you felt a bit more stable about your business?
I never felt stability in my business.
Even after 12 years?
Even today.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I think the day you feel stable, or shall I use the word complacent, is the day that you start to fail.
Okay. So it almost sounds like stability has no part to play in running a business.
Don't feel stable, right? You always feel that there's a little bit of fire behind you, trying to propel you forward. Otherwise, it's just there. You're just like sitting there and just waiting for, I don't know, God knows what, right?
Okay.
So always have the gumption, the balls, to move forward and break stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting though, because like you are starting from a place where you said, your account was nearly dry and then you just had to scrap through.
I think I started the marketing guy with $60 in my bank account. Yeah, that was the thing. Then 没有钱了, that's it.
So you really just went with your own intuition that, it's time to jump, and I just jump. And even though there isn't much, it's okay, I'll figure out.
So the jump was even more drastic than how it's being painted, right? So the jump was me leaving the last job, right? And then I entered this period of I don't know what to do, right? I think this period was 6 months, no, not that long, maybe 3 months, 4 months, right? And I did weird jobs, right? All legal, of course. Weird jobs, right? I washed dishes. I washed dishes after secondary school, throughout poly. So I just went back and said, hey, you need another pair of hands. So I went back there. I stocked take for Carrefour.
Oh, wow.
I did the midnight shift. So it's 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. So that one was like a few times. I forgot how many times. And I sold speakers and like electronic stuff at expos, like electronic shows, right? Computer shows. So I did random stuff like that. And I realized that every thing I did still feels very empty until the show, the Comex show, like the computer show, right?
Okay.
So that was very interesting because I remember being placed in this hall, this small room. At the entrance of the room were people selling speakers, big speakers, right? And at the end of the room were people selling headphones. So one is volume, the other one is isolated. I sold normal speakers, like casual listening speakers. I cannot fight with isolation nor volume. Cannot. Right. I sure lose one. So people walked in, the guys who were selling speakers started playing party rock anthem.
Oh, nice.
Right? So that period, right? And I was like, wow, how do I stand out? And I started playing Adele. So the change in music is drastic. Right? When people walk away from party rock anthem, you cut into a place that's playing Adele.
Yep.
Then I got their attention, right? And after that, they started playing Adele. And then I looked at my target audience. I looked at the people walking in. I cannot choose who they are. Mostly my age, a lot of Chinese. And then I thought, okay, let's just play music that I like. I started playing Wang Jie.
Wow, okay.
Dave Wang, right? And the guys flocked to my booth, right? So I sold out of my speakers. I had to call in, get the warehouse to deliver more. Sold out my speakers. Then I realized, that's marketing.
Yeah, you have a knack for it.
Yeah, I'm using audio to attract people, right? I can't control how the brand looks nor the product, right? I'm using audio, right? And then I thought to myself, I want to do this. I want to design and deliver solutions for companies who don't know how to do marketing. And that's where I opened my Rolodex of name cards that I have. And this vegan ice cream parlor happened to open up a shop near my place. And then I said, hey, I do for you lah. You just pay me every month. I will do everything it takes. So she just paid me. Then we started from there.
And then you built your portfolio from there.
And then I started building my portfolio, started building my pipeline, started hiring 1 or 2 people. Then the rest was history lah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like yours is a very clear cut, like I want to do it, let's do it, and let's just jump in. And then the rest will figure out on its own.
I am stubborn in that way lah. I'm very obstinate in that way. I just go for it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that I'm a bit more cautious, maybe because I'm from finance, right?
Yes, yes.
So like even back in my corporate role, I was already like, starting a business sounds interesting.
Right.
Let's start something on the side first. Right. So I've always been somebody who is like in corporate and also in coaching at the same time. And coaching is like a side hustle.
Okay.
Right. And it's only like maybe 8 years ago that we got into a place where we go, hey, maybe let's start a business and like train coaches and provide coaching services to mid and senior leaders and like also business owners. And then let's go from there. Right. And then what really made me jump into the business fully was when at the peak of my career, I'm like, okay, I've nurtured the team. The team is in a very good place. They're all growing. The person who I didn't expect would want to move up the ranks after a few years told me that, I would like to move up, and how do I do that?
Oh, wow.
Right. And then I was impressed by that. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm in a very good place. But it's just that when I look across the other teams, I went like, I wish I could help them, but I'm not their manager.
Right.
Right. And when I look at numbers, I'm like, what's the point of chasing numbers all the time? I mean, I get it's an important part of the business, but then where is the purpose and impact? Right. What more can I do beyond this peak that I'm at now? Right. So when I look at the gaps that are around me, I then decided that, I think I do really want to bring humanity to the workplace. Because I've already been showing that up in many ways when I care about people and shape things according to that.
Yep.
But now it's how do I impact the people who are managing the people,
Yep.
the leaders, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I think I should just focus on running my coaching business and like getting more leaders on board in terms of shaping the way that they manage their people so that, we can all have a very nice time at work. We can be connected and don't feel like, I don't know how many times I've heard people speak about, yes, my job is just a paycheck.
Yes.
Life happens after work. Or life happens when I have financial freedom. And I'm like, God knows when that will be.
Very interesting you said that, right? I just had actually many conversations with different people about the same subject.
Right.
Like, what do I want to do when after I retire? I keep asking them, retire for what? I'm doing what I like to do. What? Maybe I'll do less because less energy or whatever. Or maybe I'll expand into something that complements what I do. But I think if you have half a mindset on retirement, then you don't have the full heart on what you're doing right now.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So
but I always think that it's a misnomer for people to think that, I don't know what they think about retirement that makes them keep wanting to choose retirement. But retirement is a place where I see many people lose their identities. Right? Because most people in this society tie their entire existence or identity to their work.
Yep.
And then they spend so many hours at work. And that is where, even though they say it's a paycheck, but then it's also an identity.
Yes.
And when they move on from that, then, they lose themselves because who am I now?
Yeah.
What do I use to define me? What do I tell others when they ask me what I'm doing?
Yep.
And I say I'm a retiree and they give me a question mark face.
Yeah, that's true. That's
right.
right.
So I like what you're saying in terms of like, should that even be retirement?
I mean, controversial topic, right?
Yes.
Like, everyone is like, wow, 我做到要死了. It's very difficult. It's tough. And maybe you need to seek some advice. I think that's number one.
Oh, okay.
Number two, I think maybe you need to find an outlet, right? Learn how to play the guitar or something. Learn how to do line dancing, something. Learn how to swim. Go and find the swimmer we talked to, right?
Yeah.
Learn how to do stuff and have an out. But I think at the end of the day, if doing something for 8-10 hours every day drains you, then you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. I think it's a clear sign that you are not doing what is in alignment to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, for you go after what you feel, you jump, and then there's no issues around how you're feeling because you're constantly following your heart or your intuition. Right? But for those who don't, that's where the energy drains out, for sure. Right? And then the thing is, it's really a matter of how willing are you to jump out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And if you're not, then, or if you want to be more measured in how you jump out of your comfort zone, are you willing to at least take the leap to try to walk out of your comfort zone a little bit and over time?
That's true.
Right?
That's true. I think we all also need to understand that when we are taking on a role, doing a job, is it for survival or is it for actualization? Self-actualization, right? It's very different. If it's for survival, you just do. It's about putting food on the table.
Yeah.
Right? No matter how tired you are, whatever, just do. But if it's for self-actualization, then I think you need to be a little bit more, shall we call it picky lah, when it comes to what you want to do.
Yep.
Do the stuff that you gravitate towards, law.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like how you brought up the word self-actualization, right? Because how many people really work towards that? And what does it take to really pursue a path of self-actualization?
Yeah.
Because I think in essence, what you and I have gone through is precisely walking on that path of self-actualization.
Yep.
Right? So when you look at self-actualization, what is it for you in your own journey?
Wow. I always try to pursue this, right? I don't want to die and become a statistic. Right? I want to be able to live forever. And I know true physical means no one can, right? Unless I'm a vampire or something. But you can't really live forever in this state. But you can live forever in knowledge. You can live forever in wealth, right? You can leave behind a big fortune and live forever to a certain extent, right? So I want to be able to live forever in whatever state I am in.
Right. So you know the whole idea of self-actualization, right? It's sometimes not necessarily one path and then you just keep going upwards.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a matter of going through a few different cycles or different paths, right?
Yes.
So then what would you say is yours? Like when do you know when you've hit a certain peak and how do you know how to go beyond that? Because I think that's a question that I think many entrepreneurs or business owners or even, somebody who's at their peak in their careers would be wondering about.
Okay, so interesting you say that, right? I always want to believe that there is no peak.
Okay.
Once you feel that there is a peak, right, then you may want to pivot, you want to change. I'm constantly trying to attack my own business, right? So I always look at, okay, if AI comes up now, right, or it's going to put me out of work, okay, how do I put myself out of work first, or how do I defend, how do I pivot? I always try to do that so that I can expect the unexpected less, right? And these are things that I often keep me up at night.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not about, I have a peak, what do I do? Do I pivot? No. I constantly feel that there's no peak, but I constantly want to attack my own business and try to defend it, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what you mean. Because like for me, when I look at reaching a peak, it's always is that all there is? Is there more?
Yeah.
What other impact can I make? It's because life ends the moment you say, we're at a good place and we're cruising and that's great. There's nothing else I'll look for. I think this is as best I can be. Right. And I think when most people come to that place, you're going to start feeling this sense of restlessness or like, you feel like there's more, but then it doesn't feel like it's just only here. Right. So I would say I have gone through around 3 cycles of that.
Yeah.
Because of that feeling. I mean, the first time around was when I was a CFO and like, what more can I do to impact?
Yeah.
And I saw the gap, so naturally it helped me to move forward.
Yeah.
The second time actually happened maybe a year into leaving my corporate role and focusing on my business. Because around then, I also received my master coach credential from the International Coaching Federation. I've been coaching clients actively, whether at the individual or group level.
Yeah.
And I started asking myself the question, what other impact, how much deeper or how can I make the impact more long-lasting so that the change lasts and people really shift in a way that they continue growing even after they're done with whatever personal transformation work.
Right.
Right. And that always makes me seek something more, something deeper. So like you may not see it as a peak. Maybe for you it's a different definition.
Right.
For myself, it's more of like a peak and then like because it happens to be a peak in terms of the industry. Right. Then I go into is that all? Is it very linear where I'm at? How do I expand the impact? Right. So it's always that question of expanding.
Right.
And then that is also how then from coaching, I found this thing called inner work. And then that helped me to like, make that deeper impact when it comes to helping a person have a more lasting breakthrough and also manifest results at the same time.
I think similarly, right? Similarly, I don't, there's this saying, this line from a marketing guru or business guru. I think it's Zig Ziglar, but I might be wrong. So he said, you want to climb to the highest point to look for the next highest point. If you're not at the current highest point, right, you are not able to see the next highest point, right? So I think we have a similar notion in a sense that I'm always in search of like the next peak. Because I don't want to settle for one peak. There is no peak.
Of course,
There's
of
always
course.
the next peak, right?
Maybe it's more like a pit stop.
Pit stop,
and then
yes.
you go to the next
Peak
one.
stop. But yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the notion that I subscribe to. And I wanted to ask though, like apart from coaching,
Yep.
were there other things you were considering to do? Like was it CFO, money, and then after that, coaching, because I like to see people grow and flourish.
Right. I think at some point, the whole thing around CFO, when I look back, it feels like I'm fulfilling my parents' unfulfilled dreams.
Oh,
Right. Because my mom was in finance. She's a finance manager.
okay.
She couldn't move any higher because she only had an O-level cert.
Right.
Right. And then my dad dropped out of school at Sec 2, started a business. It did really well initially, but then, things happened and he stopped. The business kind of failed at some point and life became challenging for the family. So it was a lot around being able to surpass where they couldn't get to. And I think that also drives me in terms of moving to that certain peak in finance and then starting business. I think a lot of it came from that. But then at some point, I also went deeper. I think where my own thing came up was a lot around the impact that I could make in this life and also what really is my calling, right? So inner work helped me to find that calling because, number one, the perspective that I wore to look at the world is very different from what's happening in actuality.
Okay.
As much as I've done a lot of personal development and transformation work on myself in the past 2 decades, right? But when I look deeper, I'm like, I realized that there's a certain bias or tint in the way that I look at things.
Okay.
Like, for instance, I've outgrown certain situations or people.
Right.
But then I continue to see them the same way that I used to see them like 10, 20 years back. And then that prevented me from growing fully to my own potential. Right. Those were some of the things I had to navigate, go through. And also like knowing who are my real friends, who are not, who can stand by you. So it's about being more discerning in life.
Right.
So that I know where I should put my attention and focus to, who are the people I should keep in my life. And therefore, it goes down to the less is more. Initially, you're doing a lot to achieve, to show society that you're capable of this. But then subsequently, it becomes more about yourself, right? Your own internal dialogue of what does it mean for myself to make impact, right? And then who are the people I keep around me that believes and aligns to that impact, right? So you're really having people who are like-minded. It's not about having a lot of friends, but it's having people who matter in your life that you can journey with. And of course, also not being attached to these people as well, because we all grow, but we may grow apart. Right, in different directions, and being open to having new people in your life as well, so that things continue to grow organically, right? So I see the path of self-actualization to have a lot of different facets, right? Not just in terms of the growth achievements that we're talking about, but also what shapes you as a person. How do you change as a person as you go through all these different journeys, right? So if we then, bring that back to you, because you also have gone through a fair bit in your own career and then coming into your business for 12 years, right?
Yep. How
do you feel that has shaped you as a person?
Ooh, how has that shaped me as a person?
Yeah.
I think it has galvanized my definitions of my values, right? Like last time, it's always follow instructions, stay in line. But I tend not to do that for some reason. So it has validated that I could make something out of myself, right?
Yeah.
And it has also taught me resilience. It's the cockroach theory, right? Like 打不死的蟑螂. Yeah, it's that mindset, and I think entrepreneurs need to have that. The very, very fundamental stuff, right? You can don't have money, you can don't have ideas, you can don't have all these things, but you need to have that cockroach spirit. And you need to constantly move forward without too much worries. I know you will worry, yes, I'm saying it in a very ironic fashion, but You will have worries, you will have problems, you will have stress, but you must be able to at least look at the next step that you're going to take. And that is something that I've learned the hard way lah. Yeah, very, very hard way.
In what sense?
It will only get worse. Right now, you're worried about, if you have a shop, you're worried about paying your staff, 1 staff, 2 staff. You're worried about paying rent. You're worried about paying cost of goods. What if you have made it and then now you have a chain of shops? You have 10 shops. Then your problem is multiplied by 10.
Yeah.
Right? If you cannot worry, you cannot take the problems of worrying about 1 shop. Don't take the problems of worrying about 10 shops, let alone like the whole country or the whole region, right? So I think it has helped me. It has given my heart and mind a bit more armor lah, in that sense. Yeah.
But how did you then take it on in the first place, knowing what it means for you, having to shoulder all this, right?
But you will never know one ma.
Okay.
Like you take it on.
You just don't think so much, just take it on.
You don't think so much, right? At the end of the day, you need to do what's right for the company, for the business, right? If your revenue takes a hit, you have to decrease in size, as long as you are alive. The most important thing is don't die. 打不死的蟑螂, right? You don't die, you're alive, you can still become what you are today, tomorrow, if you have to shrink, right?
Okay.
You still grow back to the size that you once were.
Okay.
So it's always about how Simon Sinek puts it, right? Playing the infinite game.
Right.
It's
because
not,
I see that you're not dying, but you're also dying at the same time.
it's like that.
Like you're letting go of your old self so that you can create a self that can continue this.
Yes.
You know, it's like you have a lot of different moldings around you and then you're shedding them so that you can continue going forward. You shed your old skin and grow a new one.
Because I believe what brought you here today may not bring you there tomorrow, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you need to out with the old and then learn from what is the old and then move forward into the new.
Correct. I mean, it's the same as somebody working in a corporate role with a corporate mentality will always favor security, stability, having a regular paycheck.
Yes.
Right, and certainty over the lack of certainty and then knowing that your finances may or may not make it and you're worrying, right? So what it takes to be a corporate person versus what it takes to be an entrepreneur is so different.
Yes.
And what got you to be a successful C-suite may not help you to become a successful business person.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's where we talk about there are aspects that either need to die or there are aspects that you need to embrace that you've kind of like set aside such that you can be more spontaneous, more fluid and be able to take on risks in spite of the downsides that you see.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so I think in life, I try to tell people to my Chinese name is Yongxing, right? So 永远高兴, right?
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So I think to be happy is important, right? YOLO, right? You only live once. So if you're doing something that is shackling you or you feel shackled, try and find ways around it. You know, once you're unshackled, you get a hit of dopamine, right? That's great.
Okay.
But try not to be sucked in by it. Try not to affect yourself. Try not to let it affect yourself. Try not to let it affect the ones you love. It is what it is, right? If you don't enjoy that process, don't be an entrepreneur. Don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in short, it's also if you really, really want your freedom, you have to take the risk. And courage, right?
But I think that's a lie.
Okay.
There's no such thing as freedom in entrepreneurship. You're always on call. You're always on standby. Shit hits the fan. You have to be the one that clean it up, right? Because the buck stops with you. The dollar stops with you, right? There's no such thing as, oh, I'm free. I'm financially free. I think it is a misdirection.
Okay.
That's why a lot of people feel, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. Why? What's the lure of being an entrepreneur? You exchange working 40, 50 hours a week for working 100 hours.
24/7.
Yeah. Maybe even more, right?
Maybe
Sometimes
even more hours than you have.
You need to clone yourself to do a lot of things, right?
Right.
And you're not just serving one superior. You're not just reporting to one boss. You have to report to your clients. You have to report to your staff. You need to tell them, okay, I'm on leave today, don't come and kacau me, right? You ensure that things are done.
Okay.
So there's more reliance on you as an entrepreneur.
Then what's the benefit?
Control.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because then the person who's in the corporate role will also think that they have control.
Over certain things. So it depends on what you want to control. Right? You want to control the hours that you put into work, if you deem what work is, or you want to control the outcome of your output. Right? It's what's more valuable to you as a human being. If I want to be able to work and leave work at the door, and then I go home, I invest my energy into my family, or whatever side hustles that I have, or hobbies, then great. Then work for someone, right? But if you don't, then you'll be like, okay, I just wanna do my own thing. If you have a thing to do to begin with, some people just want to be an entrepreneur for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to impact the world, you see a grievance that you want to address, then you have a solution for it. By all means, be an entrepreneur.
Okay. So it sounds more like being an entrepreneur, it's about purpose and impact.
Of course.
Right. Because of what you need to go through.
Yes.
Right. Whereas if you are in a corporate role, at some point you're going to start to cruise, and if that's what you want, then that is your choice, right?
Yeah. So, like some people would vouch for the fact that let's say they are selling property, they are selling insurance, right? I'm my own boss. I always tell people who do that, can you change the name of your company today? If you cannot, then you are not your own boss.
I see.
You are a sales channel.
Okay.
Right. So I
look
think
for Will if you need to be challenged.
look for me if you need to be challenged. Don't look for me, it's okay, one. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think people need to sort that part out first.
Right,
Be very clear.
Any parting words for our audience? Like in terms of, that you've gathered on your entrepreneurship journey, that, whether aspiring or struggling entrepreneurs can learn to navigate better?
I think in all essence, life in general is a struggle, right? Learn to embrace the struggles. Learn to see the good that comes from these struggles. Otherwise, you would be too consumed by it to really be productive as a person, as a parent, as a spouse, as a friend, as anyone, right? So don't be consumed by the struggles.
True. I mean, life is cannot be difficult unless you think it.
Yeah.
Right? Life comes from you, not against you.
Yes.
So if you want life to be easy, you first got to come from that place.
Yes.
Okay, and then I get the part around, therefore, being more positively driven in that sense. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.